Imagine a land filled with fear and uncertainty. It was the year 1531. Only 10 years had passed since the Spanish conquest of Mexico. The ancient Aztec Empire had fallen. Temples had been destroyed. Families were divided. The native people struggled to understand the new faith brought by the missionaries, while many Spaniards looked down on them. Amid this tension, heaven was about to intervene. Near Mexico City stood a hill called Tepeyac. Long before the arrival of the Spaniards, the hill had been a place of prayer for the native people. No one suspected that this humble hill would soon become one of the most famous pilgrimage sites in the world. On the morning of December 9, 1531, a 57-year-old indigenous convert named Juan Diego was walking through the cold dawn toward church. He was a simple man, known for his faith and humility. As he approached Tepeyac Hill, something extraordinary happened. The air suddenly seemed filled with music unlike anything he had ever heard. Birds sang with heavenly sweetness. The hill appeared radiant, as though bathed in a light not of this world. Then Juan Diego heard a gentle voice calling his name, Juanito, Juan de Guito. Looking upward, he saw a young woman standing upon the hill. She shone brighter than the sun. Her clothing gleamed like precious jewels, yet her face reflected the features of the native people. She looked both heavenly and familiar. Juan Diego fell to his knees. The woman spoke with tenderness. "My little son, whom I love, know and understand that I am the ever-Virgin Mary, Mother of the true God through whom everything lives." She then revealed her request. She desired that a church be built on that very hill so she could show her love, compassion, and protection to all people who sought her help. Amazed and trembling, Juan Diego hurried to the residence of the bishop, a Franciscan missionary named Juan de Zumarraga. The bishop listened carefully, but remained cautious. Extraordinary claims required extraordinary proof. He politely dismissed Juan Diego and asked him to return another time. Disappointed but obedient, Juan Diego returned to Tepeyac and informed the lady of the bishop's response. Mary listened patiently. Then she said something remarkable. "Return tomorrow. I will provide a sign." Juan Diego obeyed. He had no idea that he was about to become part of one of the greatest miracles in Christian history, and heaven itself was preparing a sign that would astonish not only the bishop but the entire world. The next day, December 10, 1531, Juan Diego returned to the bishop as the lady had requested. Again, he delivered her message. Again, Bishop Zumarraga listened carefully. This time, however, he asked for proof. If the woman truly came from heaven, she should provide a sign. Juan Diego returned to Tepeyac and relayed the bishop's request. The lady smiled and told him to return the following day. But that night, tragedy struck. Juan Diego's elderly uncle, Juan Bernardino, became gravely ill. Believing his uncle was dying, Juan Diego stayed by his bedside throughout the night. By the morning of December 12th, the old man seemed near death. Juan Diego set out to find a priest to administer the last rites. Hoping to avoid delay, he took a different path around Tepeyac Hill. Yet the lady appeared before him. Embarrassed, Juan Diego explained his situation and begged to be excused. The Virgin responded with words that have comforted believers for centuries. "Am I not here? I who am your mother, are you not under my shadow and protection? Let not your heart be troubled. She assured him that his uncle had already been healed. Then she instructed him to climb to the summit of Tepeyac and gather the flowers he would find there. The command seemed impossible. It was December. The hilltop was rocky and barren. Roses did not grow there, especially during winter. Yet when Juan Diego reached the summit, he discovered an astonishing sight. Beautiful Castilian roses, the kind found in Spain, covered the hill. He carefully gathered the flowers into his tilma, a cloak woven from cactus fiber. Returning to the lady, he opened the tilma. She arranged the roses with her own hands and instructed him not to reveal them until he stood before the bishop. Juan Diego hurried into Mexico City. When he reached the bishop's residence, the servants noticed the unusual flowers. Curious, they tried to touch them, but according to early accounts, the roses seemed almost impossible to grasp. Finally, Juan Diego was admitted into the bishop's presence. Standing before Bishop Zimaraga, he unfolded his tilma and let the roses fall to the floor. The flowers alone were astonishing, but then came the true miracle. As the roses scattered, an image suddenly appeared on the tilma itself. The bishop and everyone present fell to their knees. There, imprinted on the rough fabric, was the radiant image of the Virgin Mary, exactly as Juan Diego had described her. The bishop wept. The sign from heaven had arrived. The church would be built, but the miracles were only beginning. News of the miracles spread rapidly across Mexico. When Juan Diego returned home, he discovered another wonder. His uncle, Juan Bernardino, had been completely healed. He also reported that the Virgin had appeared to him and revealed the name by which she wished to be known, Our Lady of Guadalupe. Soon a chapel was built on Tepeyac Hill, and thousands began making pilgrimages to see the miraculous image. What happened next transformed the history of Mexico. Within a few years, millions of indigenous people embraced Christianity. Missionaries who had struggled for years suddenly witnessed conversions on an unprecedented scale. Many believe the image itself was speaking directly to the native people. The Virgin's clothing contained symbols they understood. Her black ribbon indicated pregnancy. The flower over her womb suggested the presence of a divine child. She stood before the sun, yet was not a goddess. She stood upon the moon, yet was not controlled by it. To the indigenous people, the image proclaimed a message greater than the old gods. Centuries passed. The tilma should have deteriorated within a few decades. It was made from cactus fiber, a material that normally decays quickly. Yet it survived not for decades, for centuries. In 1791, a worker accidentally spilled a powerful acid near the image. The fabric should have been destroyed. Instead, it suffered surprisingly little damage. In 1921, a bomb hidden in a bouquet exploded near the tilma. The blast shattered windows and bent a heavy metal crucifix. Yet the image remained unharmed. Modern investigators later examined the tilma, and that fueled worldwide fascination. Some researchers reported that tiny reflections resembling human figures appeared in the Virgin's eyes, as though capturing the moment Juan Diego presented the image to the bishop. Others noted that certain pigments could not be clearly explained by known painting techniques of the. While scientists debate various findings, one fact remains undisputed. The tilma continues to survive after nearly 5 centuries. Today, millions of pilgrims visit the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe every year, making it one of the most visited Catholic shrines on earth. Saint Juan Diego was canonized in 2002 by Pope John Paul II, who called him a model of humility and faith. Whether one approaches the story through faith, history, or curiosity, the events at Tepeyac remain among the most extraordinary and influential Marian apparitions ever reported. A humble man, a winter hillside, a cloak of cactus fiber, and an image that continues to inspire millions nearly 500 years later. The story of Our Lady of Guadalupe is not merely the story of a miracle from the past. It is a reminder that heaven still speaks through the humble, the forgotten, and the faithful.